We believe that settlements are illegitimate, and we have deep concerns about highly contentious planning and construction activities that the Israeli government is pursuing in East Jerusalem and the West Bank.
Now, Ernest would not deny the sanctions are on the table. He added that none of this is affecting the U.S. support for Israel's defense.
President Obama will neither confirm nor deny he is considering sanctions on Israel, at least officially. And even the hint of such has Israeli supporters enraged. However, with what is happening at the moment in the Middle East, Israel does indeed have a lot of explaining to do to a world community. He is founder of the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund, the former mayor of Shiloh, Israel, and also author of The Islamic Tsunami, Israel and America in the Age of Obama. Let's welcome back David Rubin. Mayor Rubin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
I will have to say that we want to start right away with the Israeli warplane bombing of 2 areas near Damascus on Sunday. This struck near the city's international airport. There are people around the world who feel as if this is nothing more than aggression. We understand that the Israeli government says we are going after Hezbollah to make sure that no more missiles get to them. But how is the rest of the world supposed to keep Israel in its thoughts as a peaceful people when these seem to be acts of war?
Well, any peaceful people have to act in self-defense. I'd like to remind your listeners, your viewers, that Israel is surrounded by countries that, and not just countries, but Islamic terrorist organizations that are seeking Israel's destruction. The Hezbollah terrorist organization that was hit by those strikes on Syria directly, I might add, those are weapons that were headed for Hezbollah, and there were several terrorists who were killed who were from the Hezbollah terrorist organization. And Hezbollah, which is based mainly in Lebanon, has between 100 and 200,000 missiles pointed at Israel, and the ability to strike at Israel with those missiles. Do you know what 100 to 2,000, 100,000 missiles aiming at a country that is smaller than the size of New Jersey means? I'm sure that any American would understand that this is a very, very serious threat and needs to be countered.
Is that the biggest problem that Israel faces sometimes, is when it comes to such strikes such as these, when it comes to the settlements on the West Bank and any other security issues, trying to make the rest of the world, or to at least ask the rest of the world to be in their shoes, and the rest of the world doesn't want to be in those shoes? Is that fair?
Well, obviously we have to ask the world to try to be fair and understand our situation. But beyond that, we have to act in our own interests. I think there is a very unfair double standard here when the United Nations condemns Israel for defending itself, when even the United States administration, the Obama administration, criticizes Israel for defending itself. I think it's very unfair, and we have to act in our own interests. There's a limit to how much we can play this game of get bashed over the head and then try to explain yourself.
How close are we then coming to the end of that game? Because I understand completely what you mean when Israel has to continue to come back and justify what they're doing. What more could they do? I mean, if we get to the end of that game, it would seem the only option that Israel have would then be to declare all-out war on its enemies.
Well, I think that might not be a bad thing that you're suggesting. When you fight a war, you need to fight the war to win. And unfortunately, you can't win a war with one hand tied behind your back. This is what happened in Gaza. This is what happened in Lebanon. We fought with one hand behind our back, and we didn't win either of those times. Yes, they didn't win either, but we didn't win decisively. And frankly, all of Western civilization has been suffering from that ailment, which I call the Vietnam syndrome, that since the Vietnam War, the United States also doesn't know how to fight a war to win, how to win decisively against an enemy. And if you want to understand how to win a war, you look at World War II, you look at how we identified an enemy, which was the Nazis, and we fought to defeat them, we meaning the free world. And that's something that we can all learn from in our times as well, both Israel and the United States.
All right, we're going to talk about the government here in just a moment. I'll ask you please to stand by Mayor Rubin. He'll be back with us on the other side of the break. And at 34 minutes after the hour, another controversial figure in the battle over creationism and evolution. He has gone to these debates many times. He's going to focus on it right here. Bill Nye, the science guy, who is unafraid to take it on and say that, hey, when it comes to schools, we need to teach evolution. Stay with us. MidPoint evolves and continues.